Today, we're digging into a really fascinating new report that completely flips the script on what we think we know about AI in the workplace. And you know what? It reveals a pretty surprising truth about who's really ready for this AI revolution and who really needs to catch up.
To really get what's at stake here, let's just start with this huge idea from Google CEO Sundar Pichai. He's basically saying we're not just talking about some new app or a faster computer. No, AI could be more transformative than fire or electricity. Just let that sink in. That's the scale we're dealing with.
And of course, that kind of scale comes with some absolutely staggering numbers. The report estimates a potential for $4.4 trillion in annual productivity growth. That's the economic wave that's building, one that could literally reshape entire industries. I mean, the stakes just couldn't be higher.
But here's the twist. Here's the paradox. Despite all the money being poured into AI, only a tiny fraction, just 1%, of leaders believe their companies are actually mature in using it. Think about that. All that investment, and almost nobody feels like they're getting it right. It's a massive disconnect. So this is the central mystery we're going to try and solve today. With all this money, all this potential, why is there such a huge gap between what companies want to do and what's actually happening? What is the disconnect here? Well, as we're about to see, the answer is probably not what you think.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about speed. AI is not some sci-fi concept for the future. I mean, in just the last couple of years, its capabilities have absolutely exploded. It's an unstoppable force. We're not just talking about automating simple tasks anymore. We're talking about generative AI that can reason, create, and even help make decisions. This isn't coming, it's here. And the pressure to adapt is just immense.
You know, this quote from Reid Hoffman just captures the feeling perfectly. For years, AI was kind of growing in the background, gradually getting better, and then, bam! It felt like it arrived all at once, just suddenly. And that sudden arrival is creating both this massive opportunity and, honestly, a whole lot of confusion in the workplace.
So with all that confusion, when leaders are trying to figure out, hey, what's holding us back, they often point to the same thing, their own employees. The common wisdom is that the workforce is the barrier, that people are too slow, too resistant, or they just don't have the skills. But is that what's really going on?
Well, the data says not so fast. The report found that C-suite leaders are nearly 2.5 times more likely to blame their employees for slow adoption than to look in the mirror at their own strategy and leadership. Wow, that is a huge assumption being made right at the very top. So right here, this is the prevailing myth in a nutshell. The workforce is the problem. It's a simple story, it's an easy narrative, but as we're about to find out, the actual data tells a completely different and way more interesting story. All right, let's get to the reality of the situation. Because when you look at the data, the whole narrative just flips on its head. It turns out this isn't about employees holding things back. It's about leaders needing to step up and build a bridge to meet their teams where they already are. And get this. The data shows that 3 times more employees are already using generative AI extensively in their daily jobs than their leaders even realize. That's not resistance. That is a grassroots adoption revolution happening right under management's nose. This chart just shows the gap perfectly. On the left, you see what leaders think is going on. They're guessing maybe 4% of their staff are heavy Gen AI users. But then look at the right. The reality? It's 12%. 12% of employees are already using this stuff for more than a third of their daily work. People aren't waiting around. They're already off to the races.
And far from being resistant, employees are actually asking for more. Look at what they're saying would help them use AI even more. The number one request from almost half of them? Formal training. Right behind that, they want better access to the tools and just some clear instructions. They're not putting up roadblocks. They're literally asking for a roadmap.
But of course, training isn't just a one-size-fits-all thing. You've got to think about the specific roles. So let's say you're a citizen data practitioner in marketing. You're probably going to need skills in data storytelling. But a dedicated data and AI practitioner in finance, they need to master predictive modeling. And then you have your experts, maybe in R&D, who need to be building whole new AI systems. The key is targeted training for the right people.
Okay, so this brings us to a really core tension that every single leader is facing right now: speed versus safety. There is this massive pressure to innovate super fast so you don't get left behind. But at the exact same time, you've got to deploy AI responsibly to build and maintain trust. It's a real balancing act.
And this slide just lays it all out. On one side of the scale, you have almost half of leaders feeling the pressure, saying, we're moving too slow. On the other side, you've got over half of employees worried about very real risks like cybersecurity. So the big question is, how do you hit the accelerator without totally breaking everyone's trust?
Well, the report offers a really breakthrough insight to solve this puzzle. A massive 71% of employees actually trust their own employer to use AI ethically. This is huge. It means leaders have basically been given the permission they need to be bold. Their people already trust them to get this right.
So, with that trust already in the bank, leaders can start moving toward the ultimate goal, and that's what the report calls Superagency. This isn't about running little experiments here and there. No, this is about fundamentally rewiring the entire organization for a future where AI is just woven into the fabric of everything.
So what exactly is this superagency? It's not about humans being replaced by AI. Not at all. It's about a partnership. It's this state where AI acts like a powerful co-pilot, amplifying our own human creativity and productivity. The idea is that we can make a much greater impact and focus on the work that really, truly matters.
And this really captures the spirit of it. The goal isn't just automation for automation's sake. It's about creating a powerful collaboration, weaving together human ingenuity and machine intelligence to amplify our best skills and solve bigger, more complex problems than we ever could before.
So how do you actually get there? The report lays out a 5-part framework to rewire the whole organization. It all starts with a clear roadmap that's led by the business, not just an IT plan. Then you've got to invest in talent with the right skills to match that plan. You also need an agile model so you can move fast. And of course, the right modern tech and data to power everything. And finally, the last step is scaling these tools across the whole company, not just keeping them in little pockets. Each piece builds on the next to create a truly AI-native organization. So, the crucial takeaway from all of this is pretty simple. The AI future isn't just something that's gonna happen to us. It is being built right now, in real time, company by company, team by team. And that really leads to the final and most important question for you.
And that question really is for everyone. For leaders, it's, is your strategy ambitious enough to actually win? And for every single employee out there, it's, how can you start rethinking your own work right now to drive innovation from the ground up? The opportunity is here. The only question left is, who's going to see